Hey family, thanks for tuning in. I'm Ant, this is BT. The purpose of our show is to give a black perspective toward controversial and uncomfortable subjects. Unapologetic is a safe space for us and our viewers to embrace those difficult conversations. So with that being said, let's get right into it. BT, how you feeling, man?
Not bad, just got back from vacation, Smoky Mountains. Shout out to Smoky Mountains, that was a great time. Did a little country yeehawing for the weekend, some ATVing, some of the outdoorsy stuff that I'm not used to, so it was a good time though.
That's what's up, new experiences. Myself, I spent some time with some family, so had a good time.
Ain't never go wrong with family time.
Exactly, man. But let's get straight to it.
Yes,
this week we're talking about being more than an athlete, and questions and stigmas surrounding that. Right. So this all started from Laura Ingraham, a political pundit that had expressed her anger or ire toward LeBron James because he made a comment about something going on in the political area and expressed his feelings and views toward it. And she, in response, said, "Shut up and dribble."
Right.
And his response was, "He is more than an athlete." So with that being said, we kind of want to hear what you have to say about it.
Yeah, so more than an athlete, in my perspective, is exactly what it means. And I think that sometimes people hear that statement and they get a little bit taken back because they think, oh, we're not telling them that they're more than an athlete. But time and time again, we've seen so many people just go, oh, putting comments under these athletes' pages, social media platforms saying, you lost me my fantasy bet last night, or I lost $40 on you and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, that none of that matters to these people. That they're doing their job, and these athletes are performing on a high level. Yes, they're entertainment, but at the end of the day, they're performing their job.
Yeah, they're people.
But we took the time out of the day to speak with a few athletes that we actually have some connections with, and we wanted to hear their opinion on what they thought it meant to be more than an athlete. So let's hear from them.
It means a lot, It's not just about basketball; it's bigger than me. So it's about uplifting the next generation, uplifting those around me. So anything that I can do to become a better athlete, a better person for my community, that's what I'm for.
To me, being more than an athlete means that I have the not only right, but the power to use my platform to invoke positive change on things that I see in our society and our community that need to be addressed, whether it be social injustice, education reform, different things like that. But I believe that it's my duty and my right with this platform that I have to do those things.
I feel that being more than an athlete is not only having a platform, having a voice, but more so wanting to use that voice and use that platform to, invoke change and, to spread positivity or really anything that you want to do. Because I feel that a lot of people do have that power or that voice, but if they're not using it, then it doesn't make them more than an athlete. At that point, they're just an athlete with a voice. But so I feel like the big, overarching thing for being more than an athlete is wanting to use your voice and actually using it.
Great. That was great. That was great from all of them. Appreciate all of them for taking the time out of their day to shed some light on what it means to them to be more than an athlete. And now that we've heard from a few collegiate and professional athletes on what it means to them to be more than an athlete, why do you think that there's so much outrage behind athletes speaking their minds and speaking up on societal issues and political issues?
Well, one, it's a good question. I think that there's a negative stigma surrounding athletes going back to, grammar school as far as them being, just the dumb jock, so to speak, you know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
They need to just dribble the ball, like the Laura Ingraham said, or, whatever their respective sport is, do that and not do well in anything else, especially anything book related or society related or being any type of conscious as far as any type of civic duties. But I think it goes deeper as far as where this all originated, as far as the Laura Ingraham saying that he should just shut up and dribble. Right. I think it does have some racial context to it. I think it's a general overall issue, but I do think there's a deeper level of a racial underlying issue with that. There has been this perception going back to since the beginning of time, essentially from slavery days, that a black man is meant, or black people in general are meant for entertainment, to your point. And with that being said, they don't expect black people to have their own thoughts and opinions on anything important in society, whether it be political, social, within their community, anything along those lines. So when someone that is black, an athlete, especially an athlete that is black, decides to speak up about something that's going on, some people tend to take issue with it because they feel like that black person is stepping out of their box that person put that black person inside of. So I think it starts with that negative stigma in general about athletes, but especially black athletes. Going on from that, I think is also speaking to the race part of it. There's also this thing where white people, specifically that are of the racist type, bigotry, so on and so forth, they like to always control the message that black people have. They want to control the tone of it, how loud you are, the environment that you choose to be in when you want to express your thoughts and opinions, how you should do it,
everything like
where
that.
You should do it, i.e. protesting. They'll let you know, hey, you shouldn't protest here. Why are you protesting here? Why are you saying that? How about you say this instead?
There's better ways to do it.
Right, exactly. Like it's always those type of people, specifically, not everyone, but specifically the racists and bigots that try to control your message and how you should do things, because they still, at the end of the day, feel like they're superior to you and that you should do what they say. And when it comes to a black person speaking out, especially an athlete. And lastly, I think one of the things is going back to slavery days. Black people, when they were slaves, the only thing that they were seen as far as value, as far as in addition to just doing crops, things along those lines, just labor, is being entertainment. A lot of people don't know that is a part of our history. We were used for singing and dancing, and only that, but we were used for fighting. We were forced to be pit against each other and fight to near death, sometimes death, with sometimes you get a reward for that, sometimes you don't. At the end of the day, you're a slave, you get whatever you're given. So just going all the way back from then, I think there is some subconscious and also just conscious level thinking of black people are meant for entertainment and entertainment only, and they shouldn't have their own thoughts and feelings towards what's going on in society, whether it be political, social justice, or anything going on in their environment.
Yep. I agree with everything you said there. If you speaking to the specific situation where you talked about back in slavery, where we were just pitted for entertainment to fight each other, I don't know if you ever watched Django Unchained. There's actually a specific scene in there where Jamie Foxx and Leonardo DiCaprio actually are in one of their common areas, and they're trying to make sure that their side wins in one of those slave fights. A really powerful scene because it was a lot of people's first interactions, the first time seeing something like that. And I know I was taken back, so thank you for bringing that up. So I want to kind of respond back as well to the outrage piece of it. I know that you were speaking about how they perceive blacks' perspective or their ideals when they speak out on issues like this. But another piece of it is that I never see that type of reaction or that lashback when white athletes speak about issues in the social space, right?
Same.
The whole issue with Colin Kaepernick when it happened about the kneeling for the flag, right? Everybody knows that, or should know if they actually listen, that his platform has nothing to do with the flag or America. It's about the state of law enforcement and police brutality, correct?
Correct.
Drew Brees tried to change that message. He tried to make it about the agenda and about the flag, which time and time over again we've said that that's not what the case is, right? And you saw nothing but parades, loud horns, woo-hoo, go Drew Brees, go America, and stuff like that. And it's disheartening to see that type of reaction to a statement like that.
Right.
But then when an athlete wants to speak about something that's candid as racism, it's met with combativeness every single time. And I think there's a bigger underlying issue behind that you hinted on as well. Our country has an issue understanding or accepting the fact that racism is a thing.
Yes.
And it's very uncomfortable for a lot of people. They like to suppress it. And
subconscious for some people.
It's subconscious, right? Because you could tell sometimes people get taken back and they withdraw in when they start to hear the word race or race conversation, which is the whole reason why we created this podcast, right? We want people to be more comfortable with it. But for instance, in the NFL, they have Sexual Awareness Month. They have players going out to poverty caverns and all these other things, right? That they want to support because they know there's societal issues.
Breast cancer awareness,
The moment that racism gets brought up as a societal issue, it's met with nothing but anger. Racism should not be an enigma. It should be something that is fully focused on the same way that it is sex trafficking, the same way it is poverty, the same way it is sexual assault and rape and everything like that. These are real life issues that people deal with, and these are issues that should be taken with that same type of nature, right? But every time, race is the only thing that gets met with combativeness. It gets pushed to the back. People are like, well, we don't want to see that. We just want to see them play football. Right. But when they go out and they make a moment of silence for breast cancer awareness, nothing but cheers, right? If you watch this, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Houston Texans home opener, and they stood, they didn't take a knee, they stood and took a moment of silence to acknowledge racism and denounce it, and there was boos met from the stands. I thought at first your problem was that they were taking knees.
Right.
I thought it was disrespecting the flag. Now they're not taking it, they're linking arms in brotherhood, and now it's an issue, right? Which, like I said, I think that's just the underlying issue for the country in general. So what do you have to say yourself then to the people out there that believe that these athletes should just shut up and dribble, or they should stop disrespecting the flag when there's actual underlying issues coming?
What I would say to those people, and I'm speaking very specifically to the people that are not racist, that are not bigots, so people that have actual open minds and they want to learn and they want to grow, I would say start to look at these athletes as people first, because that's what they are. And as people, they have their own thoughts, they have their own opinions, they have their own political affiliations that they may want to voice. And not only that, some of them feel that they have a civic duty. Not only with that civic duty, they have a platform that they may want to utilize to be able to voice what their opinions are. So if you truly do feel that everyone is equal, that has to include the athletes, especially the Black athletes, because far too often their thoughts, their feelings, their affiliations are just disregarded because they are an athlete, which makes no sense because they're people first and they have their own thoughts and opinions. So I would say to those people, just look at that person first, not the athlete. Look at that person first and realize that they have their own thoughts and opinions like you do. Just like you think that they shouldn't be speaking, they think that they should be speaking. So respect them as a person first, and then realize that they're an athlete when it comes to on the field or in their line of whatever their sport is.
Right. Yeah, and I agree with you on that. And I want to touch on the fact that you mentioned that they're just a normal citizen, right? And I think people tend to forget that sometimes, because you see a lot of lashback where people go, hey, you make $300 million a year and you don't deserve, the right to talk about privilege.
You can't complain. You can't complain about police brutality because you make $300 million. Yeah.
A lot of that they forget is that a lot of these people came from those urban areas. They have family that still live in those urban areas that are being harassed and bullied and seen in that scope on a regular basis, right? So it's not fair to tell somebody what hurts and what they should and shouldn't care about or speak to.
And to that point, though, even if they weren't from that background, they can empathize.
Right.
I don't have to be from that rural area and have to go through police brutality to empathize and understand like that is wrong. And I feel for that person. So empathy, I mean, that's something that every person can feel. So you don't have to be from that to understand that.
Correct. And you see it across a lot of the leagues as well. They link arms with a lot of, the Black athletes and they post on their social medias and they take stands with them. So we're not by any means generalizing all white athletes. Correct? Right. But, when Tom Brady goes out and supports the Republican Party, it's met with nothing but cheers. LeBron James says Trump needs to be voted out, and the hate comments come, right? From all types of angles. But it also, like you said, if they just sit and realize that they're citizens first, I think that will go a long way. You don't go out and you don't tell accountants, shut up and crush numbers on a calculator. Right. You don't tell marketing specialists to shut up and make the presentation for me. Right. You value and you should idolize their opinions the same way that you do because they're athletes. Athletes, that's their job. They go to work. They practice. Right. They have to take tests. They have to be tested on a will, and they have a manager, that they have to report to. Right. They have normal everyday jobs, just like all of us, and they have to go home and pay bills and take care of their family. And all the decisions that are made from the political scope, societal issue scope, their families face as well. So I don't think it's fair to cut them out.
And to that point, I think from a certain perspective, athletes should be given even more respect when they do decide to speak out, because unlike you and I, like we don't have brands on the line, like they have little brands on the line, endorsements on the line that that they have going for them. And if they say something that the endorsement or the brand may not completely back or align with, they can potentially have that taken away. And to your point, they have family and friends and loved ones that they're in the line of fire potentially if someone doesn't agree with what they have to say. So from a certain perspective, I think that you should give them even more credit, because it's not easy when you're in that huge of a brand to speak out on controversial things, because you can and will receive backlash.
Yep, I agree with you. So yeah, that's really all we had for us today. Just again, want to shout out to Akil, Quincy, and Lene for giving us a little bit of background on what they feel like it is to be more than an athlete. Also wanted to remind you guys that Harper Kid Foundation, Charity of the Month. Please go check the links in our social media posts and on our bios. Definitely want to get them involved. Dolph Golf, Small Business of the Month. My boy Vic doing great things out there, launching his fall line. And that's really all I got.
So with that being said, we're going to get to the challenge of the week. You know, we have something fresh for you every week for you to go out and challenge yourself to do to become a better person, a more informed person. So this week's challenge is to do some research on a non-common athlete. What I mean by non-common is someone that's not of like a LeBron James stature. You know, someone more along the lines, for example, Lene Harper and her great foundation and what she does outside of being an athlete. Do some research, see what they do to give back outside of just being an athlete and being entertainment. All right. With that being said, thanks for tuning in. As a reminder, we'll be airing every Wednesday evening. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We would love to hear your thoughts. Spread love. It's contagious. God bless.